With foreclosures being up 32% this year as of January, it's a good time to talk about appreciation versus depreciation. So, when we talk about appreciation, people usually think of equity, right? This is the argument I receive when I talk about primary residence versus investment property. And this is a perfect example of what can happen when you put too much faith in your primary residence when it comes to building wealth. Your primary residence has no benefit in the tax code, and therefore there's no benefit in any way. Follow me. The veins of wealth in this country is the US tax code, right? So when we talk about appreciation, it's dependent on the market, right? Your home is worth what the market says it's worth. So you could have paid $500,000 for your home, but if you can't sell it for what it's worth, at least your home is underwater, right? If you owe more than what you can sell it for, it's a big issue. So when we talk about appreciation, this is, it's phantom in a sense that it's not realized until it's recognized, meaning unless that money actually hits your bank account, there is no appreciation, and therefore no equity, right? You don't realize anything until there's a sale. And right now, with foreclosures being up, many people will not be able to unload their properties for what they paid or what it's worth, if you will, right? The worth has gone down based upon the market. Who is benefiting? Okay. So now let's talk about depreciation. The only people that get depreciation in when it comes to housing are those who are landlords, right? They get depreciation. Now, appreciation and depreciation are both phantom, right? The difference is with depreciation, the phantom expense creates a phantom loss, and that offsets real dollars. So you actually get your value out of depreciation in real time in the form of tangible dollars, right? Assuming you exercise an actual real estate strategy with the depreciation, and now that we have the one big beautiful bill extension of 100% bonus depreciation, those phantom losses can offset real dollars, right? And so, what is likely the chain of reaction is that in any economic downturn, most people who lose their homes are primary residents, single family homeowners, because usually the way they pay their mortgage is through their one source of income, which is their job, their W 2. And when you lose your job, as we can see that job loss has been increasing within the tech sector, the governmental sector, right? In the last couple of months, a lot of people have lost their jobs. No one is safe. So when you lose your job, you lose your income. You lose your income, you lose your ability to pay the mortgage, right? So you have one source of income for your primary source of housing, which is necessary, right? That's one of the needs we have is housing, okay? And so now your house goes into foreclosure. And what happens? These people become renters because now you have a foreclosure on your record. You have to move out the house. And now you have to pay a landlord, right? And now the landlords are going to have an influx of people needing housing. And what happens is now people who can't afford rent even will start to expand their unit, their family, their familial unit in each rental, meaning you'll have your brother-in-law, sister-in-law. I have it going on now. You have, maybe brother, sister, will be many sources of income per rental unit. And that means a lot of people will now be renting houses instead of apartments. Well, who's going to own these houses that went into foreclosure? BlackRocks, right? All the BlackRocks, the private equity, firms, they're gonna snatch up all these foreclosed properties for pennies on the dollar, so that the bank can be made whole and it can come off their balance sheet, and then they're going to turn around and rent to the people who couldn't afford to own it themselves. What's going to happen on their balance sheet? They're going to get to take depreciation, bonus depreciation, and they're going to utilize a real estate strategy because that is their mainstay, which is real estate. And for those of you who don't know, go to my YouTube. I talk about the two forms, which is real estate professional status or the short-term rental loophole. And that with bonus depreciation, which is phantom, right, is going to offset any other income outside of just rental, but any other ventures they're collecting dollars from. That is active income, right? So now you're going to have no tax liability on not only your rentals that you've purchased, right, and are renting to the people who used to own them, but you're going to have no tax liability on other sources of income because you've utilized the tax code, right? The one big beautiful bill extended bonus depreciation. I know I've utilized bonus depreciation as a landlord on a smaller level. Many people have, many of my students have, but it's going to occur on a larger scale. So depreciation, which is tied to rental properties, right? Investment properties, offsets real dollars, whereas even though it's phantom, whereas appreciation is a little bit less, a little bit less stable because it's dependent on the market, and you don't realize it in real dollars until you actually physically sell the property. And then again, the market can decide, who cares what you paid, this is what it's worth, and now you're underwater, and now you have no more equity. You could have started with equity and you can end with no equity. So that's why I tell people, when you're trying to build wealth, please don't bank on your primary residence. I know it's, the opposite of what you've been taught. It goes against everything that your elders have been teaching you. You buy a home, you get some equity. It's not going to be the way. So just think about that moving forward. Join my free live training tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Link is in the bio.